Thank you for joining us for another informative, educational, and entertaining edition of Music and Medicine with Dr. Charles Modeling, kidney transplant surgeon, board-certified urologist, public speaker, and well-known community national leader for the elimination of health disparities, dedicated to informing you, the listening audience, about important health topics and health information that you, your family, and your community need to know, while at the same time providing you with quality entertainment, because music and entertainment is medicine. Dr. Modelin's co-hosts are Jerome Brown and registered nurse Jonathan Branch, and the program often includes special content expert guests. So, without further ado, here is the host of the show, Dr. Charles Modelin.
Hello again to all of you out in the viewing audience. We really appreciate you tuning in to another rendition of Music and Medicine. That's Muzic and Medicine. This show is dedicated to bringing awareness and important health information to you, your family, and your community that we believe is important for you to know so that you can maintain your health and that of your family and community. I'm Dr. Charles Modeling. I'm a urologist. I'm Vice President and Chief Health Equity Officer at Metro Health. I'm also a kidney transplant surgeon. And today we're going to talk about a very important topic. It's not a pleasant topic. And we have a very special guest that I'm going to bring on this evening. Our co-host, Jerome Brown, was not able to join us, but he'll be back with us on our next episode. Tonight's subject is on a very important topic, human trafficking. Again, it's not a pleasant subject to talk about. It's something that really has reached a crisis state across the nation, something that oftentimes people avoid talking about, but it's a very sensitive subject. It can affect all individuals, regardless of your race, age, gender, ethnicity. So let me give you a definition of what is human trafficking. So human trafficking is divided into two main categories, which include sex trafficking and labor trafficking. As of June 2022, Ohio, where I am right now, Ohio ranks 5th for human trafficking incidents. The state's rate of human trafficking is about 3.84 victims per 100,000 residents, putting Ohio at the 4th worst ratio in the nation. As I said, there are different types of human trafficking. There's sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and we're going to get into a lot of this this evening, how to recognize potentially the signs of somebody who is being trafficked, how to recognize the signs of somebody who's doing the trafficking. And before we get started, the police, the FBI, their recommendations are that if you have suspicion that somebody is being sex trafficked or somebody is doing the sex trafficking, do not approach them yourself. Call the police or the FBI. There's the report, the hotline, trafficking hotline to federal law enforcement is up there on the screen, 1-866-347-2432. To get help from the National Human Trafficking Hotline, 1-888-373-7688. And we will periodically during the broadcast put those very important hotlines numbers up there. We're going to go ahead and welcome our guest, Ishmael Flores. I worked with Ishmael for a number of years over at the Metro Health Medical Center here in Cleveland, Ohio. At the time at Metro Health, Ishmael Flores was Metro Health's senior strategist for the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity. And for the past year or so, he's the DEI, or Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Program Administrator over at the RTA. That's the Regional Transit Authority here in Cleveland. And he's also he just informed me, I wasn't aware of this. He's a human right. He holds a human rights certification. We're going to learn more about that. So without further delay, let's bring Ismael Flores into the broadcast. He's also, I know, Ismael, you're going to be getting your master's in public health from Baldwin Wallace University in May, I believe, right? May this year.
Exactly. And actually my capstone it's not prior, but it's on human trafficking.
Yes.
Human trafficking is a passion of mine.
Okay.
You know, the and the reason why I made it a passion is because we're losing a lot of children, and a lot of adolescents, especially LGBTQ and children and adolescents that are being thrown onto the streets, and they have to fend for themselves, and they you know they basically they're on the streets and they're striving. They're basically trying to make the money so they can survive. A
Yeah.
lot of them tend to prostitution. A lot of them tend to do all illicit type of things, and a lot of these children and adolescents, once there are human traffic, a lot of them are being succumbing or are being forced to use drugs. Right now, um, I was doing my capstone project, and you know, the male. I mean, right now, when it comes to cocaine, during the past 30 days, there was a total of 645 individuals. Males were at 52.9%, females were at 46.4%. And then when you break it down by age. 18 to 29 were 16.6%. 30 to 39 was 35.3%. 40 to 49 were like 22.3%, and 50 to 59 was at 19.2%. 60 and over were at 6.5. And then when you break it down by the ethnicity, we have white, African Americans, other race, and Hispanic Latino ethnicity. The whites were at 71.5%. African Americans were at 30.5%. Other races were at 1.9, and the Hispanic Latinos were at 4.2%. And that's only in the cocaine use, or
Okay.
should say the cocaine substance use. But you have others that are the methamphetamines. Then you have the heroines, and then you have the crack cocaine. So you have all these substance use. And what people don't understand is that once these individuals are being trafficked, they're being trafficked to not only to do labor trafficking or sex trafficking, but also drug trafficking.
Okay.
So all of this all combines. And like you said earlier, trafficking comes in different phases and different forms. And we have to understand, we have to start educating our community, not only in the black and brown, but all the communities, that this exists. And right now the Caucasians are at high risk, but a lot of them now are coming into the human trafficking, and that's the black and brown folks.
So, considering that the African American overall population is only about 12% of the nation, from what I've read, African Americans are at a higher risk,
Yes.
percentage wise of their population representation. One of the biggest risk factors is those who are impoverished, or sex trafficked. I heard that the average age, and this was shocking to me, was 12 years old.
Yes.
I mean,
They start, but see, and I wouldn't say the funny part, but the good part about all of this is that the education needs to strive, and it needs to thrive into the community. These traffickers they love grooming these individuals. They basically give them all these high hopes and these big dreams, when in reality they're not high hopes and they're not big dreams. They're actually they're grooming them so they can capture them and basically hold them hostage, basically.
Yeah, I was looking through my notes here. It says human trafficking involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. Every year, millions of men, women, and children are trafficked worldwide. People forget that men are victims also,
Exactly.
including right here in the United States. It can happen in any community, and victims can be of any age, race, gender, or nationality. Traffickers might use the following methods to lure victims into trafficking situations: violence, manipulation, false promises of well-paying jobs, romantic relationships. There can be language barriers, fear of their traffickers, fear of law enforcement. Frequently keep victims from seeking help, making human trafficking a hidden crime. Traffickers look for people who are easy targets for a variety of reasons, including psychological or emotional vulnerability, economic
Hmm.
hardship, lack of a social safety net, natural disasters, and political instability. The trauma caused by the traffickers can be so great that many may not identify themselves as victims or ask for help, even in public settings. So these traffickers are expert in terms of identifying victims.
Yes.
And we want to stress that this is no fault of the victim. Um, but you have to be aware and be alert of in terms of what signals you may be projecting that could put you out there at risk to make a trafficker think that you are some like an easy target.
Oh yeah.
So
And the thing is that these traffickers are finding these victims um, at the juvenile system, at the court system,
mhm.
on the streets. They find the vulnerable, the ones that are very vulnerable. They find them and they groom them. And I know in my notes here, I'm going to share with you. It says human trafficking involves individuals who are illegally transported from place to place, and they are often forced into labor and exploited sexually. These victims are often moved within a country, or they are brought from another country. They are being tricked, convinced, and coerced into something that they think is legitimate, like employment, when in fact it is human trafficking. Traffickers are all oftentimes, like I said, grooming these victims and taking advantage of them. And they take advantage of natural disasters where they can offer them a home and some food. But what these victims do not know is that they are being trapped in a
Mhm.
coercive working situation. So we need to in this capstone project that I'm conducting, I want to make sure that there's plenty of prevention and education
Mhm.
done. We need to start educating not only in the school systems, but in the emergency rooms,
Mhm.
to doctors, nurses, social workers. We have to continue on this journey of implementing this education prevention.
Well, here's the other thing. These cell phones. This is an easier way in which traffickers can reach your
Oh yeah,
children or reach anybody, um,
even through Facebook.
through Facebook,
Yeah.
Twitter, other TikTok, or
Oh yeah.
whatever social media. It says sex trafficking exists within diverse and unique sets of venues and businesses, including fake massage businesses,
Hmm.
escort services, residential brothels, in public on city streets, at truck stops, strip clubs, hotels, motels, and elsewhere. In 2019, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children estimated that in 1 in 6 endangered runaways reported to them that they were likely sex trafficking victims. So remember, a lot of these individuals don't report because they're afraid that they've been
Exactly.
scared by the traffickers that they will themselves be arrested. Um,
And what people don't know, I also is that, or should say as well, is that some of these kids are either being sold,
hmm,
by their parents because they don't have means to support the family. I
hmm,
don't know if you ever heard of Iqbal. Iqbal
yeah,
And I think he was from Israel, and he was a child who was sold by his father. He was sold because the father didn't have enough money to pay for for food or for shelter or anything like that. So instead of the father being the one being paid the debt, the kid had to pay the debt, and the kid was practically, I want to say he was 9 years old when he was sold. And when he was sold, he was basically was sold from different human traffickers. He was just sold like a piece of I wouldn't even say like a piece of property, but like a dog.
Yeah.
He was just bounced from human traffickers to human traffickers.
Hmm.
And what had happened was, and I'm gonna try to condense this story. He basically got away from his human trafficker. He escaped twice,
Hmm.
and when he escaped twice, the second time he went to the Polaris, and they helped him. They helped him, and they basically went back in there, and the human trafficker got arrested. And he was helping the foundation capture all these kids, and he wanted to become an attorney so bad. But what had happened was that the end of the story was that he finally went to go see his family. And when he went to go see his family, it was raining. It was Easter Sunday, and it was pouring rain, and his car was creeping by, was driving very slowly, and they had the window down, and he was on the bike just enjoying his time with his family, and they killed him. So it's this, to me, is a passion to me, because our children
Hmm.
are our future,
Hmm.
and we have to protect them.
Hmm.
And what he did was a I wouldn't say a violent thing. What he did was an adventurous thing for him, because he wanted to save all these children.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you have to read the book. The book is really good.
No, what's the name of the book again?
It's called Iqbal, Iqbal.
IQBAL. Okay. So I wanted to read some statistics here. What are the top 5 states for sex trafficking? Um, California ranks number 1, Texas, Florida, Michigan, and Ohio. So in some rankings, Ohio is 4, and some it's 5. This is December 20, December 21st, 2022. In what city in Ohio has the highest human trafficking rate? Cincinnati and Scioto. I've never heard of Scioto. Columbus is one of the worst cities in the U.S. for human trafficking. Also, why is Ohio known for human trafficking? They say it's because of both scattered rural and urban settlements, which
And
have a
also
high. What's that?
and also the freeways.
Yeah, the
We're close to
freeways.
the
So
freeways.
Toledo is one of the most violent cities for
Mhm.
human trafficking. So not everybody in the audience is going to know about the highway system here in Ohio. So you have Interstate 80,
Mhm.
that goes from basically East Coast to I forget how far west it goes. You have Interstate 90. It goes, through Pittsburgh, Youngstown, Cleveland, close to Detroit, Chicago, Gary, Indiana. Then also you have highways leading south, Interstate 75 in Ohio. Um, Houston, the city that has the most human trafficking is Houston, Texas.
Mhm.
Houston, Texas. It is actually, and again, this is not a political statement or anything. The incidence of human trafficking is in the United States is skyrocketing due to the rapid rise in immigration over the past 3 years. Open border. Again, I'm not getting political or anything like that. But the cartels in Mexico have taken advantage of the situation. There are people waiting here on this side of the border who are traffickers. Um, so, I mean, it's an escalating problem. And again, anybody of any age is at risk. Adults, men, women, children. What else? Where does the United States rank in sex trafficking? Number one in the world. You know,
You
was
said
it
what again?
the United States?
Yes.
Yes. California's consistently had the highest number of human trafficking cases. Yeah, Houston, Texas, we said is the number one city in the United States. The states with the actually Nevada's number 7. You would think with Las Vegas that would even rank higher. But it says right now in Ohio, more than 2,000 school-aged children are potentially at risk of being forced into human trafficking through exploited labor, domestic servitude, or prostitution. Children, especially those not living with their parents, are especially vulnerable.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Russell, can we flash those numbers back up there for the hotlines so people can see?
And I do want to add that there was a total of 2,198 people who were referred to the United States attorneys for human trafficking offenses, and this happened back in 2020, with a 62% increase from 1,360 persons referred in 2011. Human trafficking number of persons prosecuted increased from 729 in 2011 to 1,343 in 2020, which is an increase of 84%. So, you know, they're targeting these, or should I say the how is it, what's the word I want to use? The Bureau of Justice is actually telling all this data collection, and I'm kind of glad that they're doing it, because my thing is it's hard to get the actual data or the statistics when it comes to human trafficking, but we're so quick to collect the data when it comes to, you know, substance use disorder, and I think that's something that we need to start focusing on, is to start collecting the data when it comes to human trafficking, because people don't understand that now. They thought that it was just only girls and women that were human trafficked, and it's not. It's everyone.
Yeah.
You know, human trafficking does not have no discrimination on sex, age, you know, ethnicity, none of that source.
And I'll tell you, you know, we're talking about individuals who are trafficked here in the United States. There are people in the United States who are abducted, and they are then transported outside of the country.
Oh yeah.
Most never to be seen again. I saw a statistic there in 2021. There were over 50,000 signals received by the hotline. That includes calls, text, and online chats and tips. They didn't all translate into cases, but this shows that people are becoming more and more aware. People know the hotline to call. Department of Homeland Security. Also, you can just pick up 911. But again, don't approach a trafficker or yourself. You can call the police and let the authorities take care of that situation.
And there are signs that you can look for, and if you don't know them, you know, look it up. I mean, there's plenty of information out there for you to know the signs. A lot of these individuals that are being human trafficked, and I'm going to say a lot of them, are suffering from mental health.
Yeah,
They're, you know, some of them have tried to commit suicide. Some of them have killed themselves. So, you know, we have to know the signs, and you know, and basically if you see something that it's not you know, at a correct method or correct station, please report it, you know.
Yeah, so I saw so here's human trafficking indicators, and these are not necessarily the only potential indicators. If you see where there are multiple people in a cramped space, if individuals lack the ability to speak to individuals alone. Their answers appear to be scripted and rehearsed, or the employer is holding their identity documents. I mean, those are some red flags. It's estimated that between 15,000 and 50,000 women and children are forced into sexual slavery in the United States, and that's every year. And like you pointed out, the total number varies widely, and it's very hard and difficult to research. So it says, why is human trafficking getting worse? It's a horrible industry that evolves just as quickly as the rest of the world, with new technologies consistently being introduced and methods of communication and networking becoming simplified. It's easier for these traffickers to get to their subjects, their victims. So, and the traffickers can communicate with one another and evade law enforcement. So
have you ever heard of the Romeo tactic?
No, never have. What is that?
It's called the Romeo pimp tactic, and the technique or the method that they use is called that. And this tactic, it manipulates and nurtures the relationship with their victims, where they manipulate their victims into believing that they are having a romantic relationship. Mm-hmm. And they do this by providing them with gifts, taking them out to eat, and spoiling them. The other one is called the gorilla pimp. Mm-hmm. And this is where they use violence to gain control of these victims. The victims will start what they are being told, and they will submit to these traffickers. And the reason why they do this is because they feel that there is no way out, or they have to pay off a debt until the debt is finished. And what they fail to realize is that their debt is never finished.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, I just wanted to highlight this can happen to any adults, men, women, children of any race, ethnicity. Who gets sex trafficked the most? We mentioned this before. What's the average age of sex trafficking victims? 12 years old. Yes. Children account for half of the victims of human trafficking. In fact, the average age of a young person that becomes involved in sex trafficking is 12 years old. So it says, traffickers create a sense of fear in their victims through threats. If she or he leaves, the tactic often has a fear of violence or harm against the victim attached to it. So therefore, the victim often stays, even if the trafficker is not around. I mean, because they don't, they think they're going to be tracked down. Their families have been threatened as well, that kind of thing. Women constitute about twice the percentage of identified trafficking victims as men, 42% versus 23%. The percentage of trafficking victims who are boys and girls is almost identical. See, again, yes. People forget about the fact that boys are trafficked.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
there is a trafficking method that they do, and it starts with the assessment and the recruitment. Then it starts the grooming, the breaking, and then the maintenance and the automatic.
Okay.
It's like a revolving door. It continues, and that's what they do. They seek out the least vulnerable.
Hmm. So people need to know. In the United States, the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000, TVPA, it was amended by the Justice for Victims of Trafficking Act of 2015, defined sex trafficking as recruiting, harboring, transporting, providing, obtaining, patronizing, or soliciting of an individual through the means of force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of commercial sex. However, it is not necessary to demonstrate force, fraud, or coercion in sex trafficking cases involving children under the age of 14, under the age of 18. Under the age of 18. So somebody may be involved in some of these actions and not realize that they themselves would be accountable. For instance, if they're transporting some of these victims, and that's why if they are suspicious that somebody getting into their bus, their cab, or whatever, they need to take responsibility to make that phone call, because they actually could be considered liable and guilty, in the eyes
Oh
of the
yeah.
law. Yeah. So
And again, Dr. Mallon, that goes back to the prevention education, where
mm,
everyone should be educated on this piece, so they can know the science, so they can know the correct mechanism, or the correct methods, and actually reporting these cases.
mm,
A lot of these patients, or should I say, a lot of these victims are not. They have a problem with trusting.
yeah.
They don't trust people because their trust has been broken. And if they leave their trafficker, um, or should I say, once the victim is safe, it's hard for them to get adjusted, because the only thing they know is being human trafficked.
Mm.
So
And yeah.
we have to continue this education.
And to your point, it says who additionally, we mentioned who is affected. But speaking of forced labor, which is another form of human trafficking, who is affected? Traffickers who exploit people for forced labor do not discriminate. Neither do employers. Victims
Yes.
can be of any age, race, religion, religious affiliation, gender identity, nationality. They may come from any socioeconomic group. Certain risk factors, however, make certain individuals more vulnerable to forced labor than others. These include unstable immigration status, language barriers, poverty and lack of basic needs like food, shelter, safety, the psychological effects of a recent or past trauma, lack of social support systems like friends, family, and community, physical or developmental disorders. I've heard on the news over the past 3 years or so, with this border crisis situation. I've heard various numbers: 80,000 to 150,000 minors have come into the country unaccompanied,
Hmm.
and the U.S. federal government doesn't know where they are. So, I mean, that is shocking, and that is striking. Um, we have to take this more seriously. The occupations, it says domestic labor trafficking by sector. Domestic labor trafficking sector, domestic work, 19% of them are forced into domestic work. Agriculture, 7.8%. Construction, 6%. Illicit activities, 5%. Traveling sales crews, 6%, whatever that is. Traveling sales crews. Restaurant, food service, hospitality, 56%.
And
So,
I want to piggyback to what you said earlier. Um, a lot of people, don't know that these cartels that
yeah.
are in these foreign countries. Some of them, and people don't know this, but Oregon organ trafficking is another sign of, I wouldn't say another sign, but it's another trafficking source that these cartels are doing. They're basically grabbing these kids, and they're basically cutting them open, taking all their organs, and leaving them to die.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we've heard,
and
like, I'm a kidney transplant surgeon, and you hear stories about this, and some people say they're urban legends. It's actually happening.
oh yeah.
And a lot of this is happening in foreign countries. There's something called medical tourism, where individuals here in the United States or elsewhere who have been waiting for a kidney, they'll travel to a foreign country, and pay for a kidney. It's illegal to pay for an organ here in the United States. It does happen.
Oh yeah.
And some of that organ trafficking actually is happening here in the United States, like you said. Um, let's This is music and medicine, so we've been touching on a very difficult, sensitive, sad topic, infuriating topic. I mean, these are human beings that are being snatched away from their families. Oftentimes, it results in suicide or murder of these individuals.
Yes.
Um, So let's uplift the audience a little bit. I actually recently had an opportunity to go over to the Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church. That's the senior pastor is Reverend Theophilus Cavanus. He's been pastor there for at least close to probably 70 years. I mean, he's an amazing individual. And he is an individual who has always supported our Minority Men's Health Fair, helped and introduced me to the community of Cleveland and helped spread the word. And during my visit over there, I was able, and I've been over there several times speaking, and I've always wanted to have on our program the organist, Mark Thompson. And he could not be here this evening. His mother just recently passed away, so our prayers go out to him, our condolences. In fact, actually, he played organ and his mother played piano in the church. They would always often play together and sing. But he recorded a video, very moving, inspirational video that I think will uplift our audience, during this very difficult conversation. So we're going to listen to Mark Thompson sing and play. Actually, in this case, the electric piano from the Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church on East 105th Street in Cleveland.
Oh God, my Father, oh, there is no shadow of turning with thee. God changes not, thy commandments, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hands hath already provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Why should I be discouraged? And why should the shadows fall? Why should my heart feel lonely and on my heaven I'm home? When Jesus is right beside, a conscience His eye in all of the sparrow, and I know You're watching me. In all of the sparrow, and I know You watching me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. this sparrow, and I know you are a chance for me.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. That was outstanding. You know, Ishmael, it's when you think about it, you know, we listen to music all the time, and there's a lot of famous musicians out there and singers, songwriters. But when you think about it, there are more talented musicians who are not quote unquote famous, who are out there performing in the churches every week, that we don't really know about. And I've been saying this to Mark for years. I could actually listen to him all day. I would. He could sell out Quicken Loans Arena. And anybody who wants to go see him, go to Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church every Sunday. He's there every Sunday singing, and just so inspirational. I grew up in a little town called Newcastle, Indiana, population 18,000, about 30 miles east of Indianapolis. Our church was Wiley United Methodist Church, and we had music like that every week. Just so many talented musicians and singers, and that just uplift us. Yeah.
And we have a lot of talented individuals here in Cleveland.
Yeah, we do. Here in Ohio. So I wanted to tell the audience about there are several other initiatives out there, organizations who have taken upon the challenge of alerting the community and educating the community about the signs of human trafficking, the different types of human trafficking, what you can do if you suspect somebody is being trafficked. There is one organization called the Blue Campaign Labor Trafficking Awareness Initiative. They actually have videos. It says you can watch the Blue Campaign Labor Trafficking Awareness video. Just Google that. There's some like long links and things, but it's very easy now to find information on this. You know, I don't know that. Like, you think back 5 years, 10 years. Do you remember hearing anything about human trafficking the same way we are now?
I mean, I heard it, but I haven't heard it as much as today. You know, today I'm hearing more and more.
Yeah.
You know, back then we didn't have technology like we have today.
Yeah.
So today we're seeing it on you know, on the internet. We're seeing it on different web pages. But I do want to stress this to all parents out there, that if you have children, start monitoring their steps.
Yeah.
Because, you know, these human traffickers, they're going to get on the internet and they're going to start trying to capture all these individuals. You know, be careful with your children. Monitor your children's every step. I have 3 granddaughters and I'm on top of them.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not, you know, like I said, this is a passion for me, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. You know, if I reach out one person, that one person is going to reach out someone else.
Yeah.
So I have to continue my journey.
I'll tell you something else, and this is from a personal perspective. I've had family members who have been approached and tried to be pulled into cars. Oftentimes, people are predictable in their movements. They'll go to the grocery store, they'll go to the gym, they'll drive the same route to work or school, or they become very predictable, and somebody can pick up on that. And when you need to vary your routine, your route, your movement. I've even had situations where people will drive vehicles that look like police vehicles. People will dress up as officers, as policemen. And I've seen this show, Forensic Files. I mean, you know, it's real. I mean, there's ample evidence that people will disguise themselves. They'll put on costumes. before you open the door, don't just open the door when somebody rings the door. Ask who it is. Get personal safety video cameras. It's not being paranoid. It's being safe.
Exactly.
So I'd like to thank you, Ishmael, for joining us.
Well, thank you.
And sharing your expertise, and congratulations on your upcoming graduation with your MPH degree. No, tell me what this what's your certification now again?
It's called Human Rights certification. It's a consultant certification. Actually, what I did was I was on LinkedIn one day, and I was going through. I was just searching through, and I'm all about educating my mind. And I saw that that there was this commercial on human rights certification. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. And when I started taking the class, the class was actually it was $250, but I took it. And you can pace yourself. You pace yourself, and I did it all in I want to say in 2 days, because I was so intrigued. I was so intrigued with the classes. I was so intrigued with the material, and they were talking about human trafficking and human rights, and I'm like, this is up my alley. I need to take it, and I took it, and I passed every module, and at the end of the last session, which was module 7, I think it was, they give you a test, and I passed, and I'm like, wow. But again, it's something that I have passion for.
Okay.
So if you have the passion, do it.
So let me tell you. So let me ask you: Are you on LinkedIn?
I am.
So how would somebody find you or follow you on LinkedIn if they wanted to contact you to become a public speaker?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn as Ishmael Flores, and just like my name shows on the screen, it's just like that, Ishmael Flores. And just reach out to me. I'm here to pass the word. I'm here to educate.
Okay, thank you. So what we're going to do, we're going to close out. I did a show. I don't know. We did a show a couple months ago. My favorite genre of music is the 70s music.
Yes.
I listen to 70s music constantly. I'm always listening. And when I did that show, I indicated that one of my favorite singers of all time is from right here in Cleveland, Eric Carmen. And I don't know if you heard, he recently passed away.
Yes.
A couple days ago. So we're going to close the show off with a dedication to him. We're going to show his performance of one of his most popular hits, All by Myself. But real quick, he was Eric Howard Carmen, born August the 11th, 1949. He passed away we believe it's March 11th. He was American singer, songwriter, guitarist, keyboardist. He was the lead vocalist of the Raspberries, who had a million-selling single, Go All the Way, and then a solo artist career. He had hits with All by Myself, Never Gonna Fall in Love Again, She Did It, Hungry Eyes, and Make Me Lose Control. And he was just a remarkable individual. He's given me years of enjoyment. And one of my regrets is I never had a chance to meet him. We had actually had reached out to his agent to try to get him on the broadcast, but unfortunately, but he left society and the world with his incredible gift. His music will last forever. So I wanted to I want to say thank you, Eric Carmen, for years of enjoyment you provided not only me but the world. So thank you, Ishmael. Thank you, Russell Johnson, for producing this show. And everybody, please tune in, spread the word about this platform, Music and Medicine, and stay tuned for future shows also. Remember the Metro Health Minority Men's Health Fair, the Metro Health Men's Health Fair, Saturday, April the 27th, between the hours of 4 p.m., between the hours of 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Saturday, April the 27th, we're going to be at Metro Health's Cleveland Heights campus. And also we're partnering with Cuyahoga Community College. That's Tri-C Metro campus. All free preventative health screenings from head to toe. You can just register on site, or you can go to our website and register for the Minor Women's Health Fair. There, that's the phone number right there, 957-3862, area code 216. So thanks, Ishmael. Thanks,
Thank
Russell.
you.
And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
From the lead singer of the Raspberries to one of this year's most promising and exciting new artists. So here, now, all by himself, is Mr. Eric Carmen.
When I was young, I never needed anyone, and making love was just for fun. Those days are gone. Living alone, I think of all the friends I've known. Telephone, nobody's home. All by myself, don't wanna be all by myself anymore. Sometimes I feel so insecure, and love so was young, I never needed anyone, and making love was just for fun. Those days are gone.
Rest in peace, Eric Carmen, and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time. Thank you.